looking so beautiful in that pink, girl.
You.
We are we are so glad that you're going to be with us. Do you have your template, Paula? You have a template. Everybody else got theirs tonight.
Yeah.
It's a short one. It's a short
Yeah.
one, which means Victoria's going to make us talk a lot. That's what that.
Yes.
Look at her grinning. She's waiting.
I'm ready.
Okay, Polly, we're including you in the weekend review also, so we'll be getting with you on that. Victoria, I'm going to call on you first.
Okay.
Then Ruth, you go. I'll go, and I'll lead into you, Paula, so you can tell us about your weekend review, and then when she gets to a good stopping place, Victoria, you will just come on in.
All right.
That sound good?
Yes.
Sounds good.
Okay. All right. I think, you all will be happy to know that I found an author.
What do you mean you found an author?
You remember I told you I didn't have a favorite author.
Okay.
See,
Okay.
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 That's part of my weekend review because it took me a whole week to find one.
You know what?
All right, everybody, it's time to roll the open. Have a great
Okay.
show.
Okay.
You.
Thank you, Alan. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Authors Up. Authors Up. Boy, we got a new face. We got a new face in the house tonight. Certainly glad that she is here with us. It's Miss Paula Obi. Hi, Paula.
Hello, everybody.
Hey, Paula.
And Ruth is with us, of course, and Victoria Henderson Poole is up there in the corner. And we got our first listener on the line tonight. Hey, Lynn. Good to have you. Nice to have you. So glad that you are with us tonight. This is a first. We always have some first. Hey there, Linda. And we kind of put out a call and we said if we didn't have a volunteer, we would make a volunteer.
Yes.
And she was so gracious. But we want to do this fairly often. So whenever one of us has to be away or one of us is out, then we're going to have one of our listeners come in and co-host with us. And Paula, it's your night to do that. And we welcome you to Authors on this side of the program.
Yes.
So we're going to get started like we usually do. And that's to start with our weekend review. And Victoria, we're going to start off with you tonight.
Hello, everybody, and welcome. Hey, Bronze Girl, plus one more tonight. Hey, Bronzette. It is good to see everybody. And, let's see. My weekend review. It really wasn't eventful, except that I went to work and tried to get back into the flow and rhythm of that after my beach excursion. And I wasn't really successful. I'm gonna tell you, I struggled all week. I couldn't get myself together, and I kept looking at my video of the beach and listening to the waves, and I just couldn't get it together. And we're still off on Fridays. We have one more left, but by the time I got to Friday, I was so grateful. I was just so grateful. So that it really has been my week. I tell you, it's just thanking God just to be here tonight.
Okay, very good. And you saw where Lynn gave greetings to the Queen, so she
Queen Victoria. Oh, I got one more thing. I took my wig off. Look, y'all, I took my wig off.
Lord.
Ooh, look, I got some hair. It is all gray. Oh my God.
But it's fabulous. It looks
It
wonderful.
Thank
is.
you.
It is.
It's gonna take some getting used to, but whatever.
Look,
Whatever. It's
look.
mine. It's mine. It's
Yeah.
all mine.
It works. Okay, it works.
That's
It's
right.
gorgeous. It is.
Ruth, what was up on in your neck of the woods for the week? What do you have going on?
Well, let's see. So my oldest daughter had come to visit. We sent her, and she stayed with us for a week. You know, lovely haircut.
Yes.
Yes,
So
that
she
was
did an
fabulous, darling.
amazing
Wow.
job. You know, can't complain about that. Ended up sending her home. I was supposed to be on the road today, which is why we have Paula, and we appreciate you. Love
Yes.
having you here already. Um, but obviously that didn't work out. So, my youngest actually moved into her first apartment
Wow.
today. So
What?
I am
Wow.
officially an empty nester.
I'm sick of
She not
you.
coming back.
I'm just sick of you now. I'm
She
just
has
sick.
her own apartment.
She has her own apartment. Yes.
That baby is not old enough to have an apartment. Go get her.
She
What in the world?
no.
It's just
I was supposed to. I don't want it at this point. No, I don't want to.
Good evening, Francina.
Good evening. So yeah, so I'm officially an empty nester, and she got her own place. And
Wow.
she,
Oh
know,
wow.
and the thing is, as parents, you're like, okay, well, we're not able to be there for the move, so just make a list. Let us know what you need. And we're thinking,
Yeah.
okay, towels, things like that. She's like, no, I need furniture, and I'm like,
So she's in her own apartment, no roommates. Just
no, she does have a roommate. She
oh,
does have
okay.
a roommate.
Okay, I feel a little
So
better.
yeah, no. So she is maybe like 2 blocks from the campus. Her
Oh,
roommate goes to
okay.
the medical side of the campus, and
Yeah.
it's she can walk to work, she can walk to class. So she's in a good spot. It's yeah, she is all. She thinks she all grown up because there were some things we were back and forth on Friday talking about. Okay, well, did you talk to your landlord? Did you call the electric
Right. You
company?
gotta
Do
tell
you have
her.
power? That kind of thing. But
Yes. We
you
gotta
know.
help her. Gotta help her.
Yeah, yeah, but
absolutely.
she's all right. She's all right.
Oh,
I'm just sick. I'm just sick. That baby's.
I'm sick.
Uh,
in her own apartment. That just
Yeah,
see, that's why my hair gray. That's why my hair gray.
that's why I got chunks of gray. Look at that. So
She
yeah,
baby
Oh,
got her own
Mhm.
place.
but yeah,
we'll
no.
keep her in our prayers for sure.
Yeah,
Lord
please,
Jesus.
please keep me.
she's more than impressed.
Uh, well, my week was a lot of my week was actually spent on this show because um, I was when the topic came up and we decided we were going to do books
Mhm.
and we were talking about some of the things we were going to discuss. I thought I'm not falling in that category. Favorite
Yes.
authors, favorite books. No, I'm not seeing that for me. But you know what I did? I actually went to my bookshelf and started perusing the books that I had. And I said, if I have more than 2 books by a particular author, then at some point in time,
You
they've
like to.
been a favorite.
Yeah.
So I did come up with 2.
Okay.
Okay,
Uh,
all right.
I'm not going to
Okay.
tell you who they are yet.
Okay. Yeah, you
Okay.
hold that thought because we gotta give Paula some time.
I'm going to wait and share. I'm going to wait and share when Queen Victoria asks me that.
Say,
Ah,
God.
I got to answer.
okay.
But Paula, tell us about your week. What did you have going on this past week?
I've had a really good week. Last week we had a church conference, and I'm still feeling the atmosphere of the theme of using your gifts.
Oh,
Oh,
good.
nice.
Invitation was so appropriate because everything that happened this week, professionally was a blur because I was
Okay.
still thinking about the workshops and how we need to be
Mhm.
focused on using our gifts for fulfillment.
Yes.
So Arthur's up. I just love you all. I
Oh,
I
We
do.
love
you. We
you.
love
I
you
try to love you.
too.
Yeah. Yes, I
Oh,
did. I talked about how sometimes we don't understand that writing is really a gift from God,
It is. It
and
mhm.
is.
that Authors Up, the show, definitely defines what it's like to be use your gift from God. So here's my
Amen.
so that
Yeah.
is
Amen.
my week. I've just been reflecting on that.
That's great. That's
Oh.
great. That's great.
And
Love
we didn't even
that.
have to pay you to say that.
I know, right?
I know.
Free
And
advertisement tonight.
and listeners, I want you to know Paula's going to be back because she is going to be our co-host for the month of August. So she'll be back with us on August 28th, Sunday, August 28th, when Ruth really will be
Yeah,
away.
She said she got the tickets this
yeah,
time.
yeah, I got the tickets.
Oh,
I won't be here. So
Okay.
so Paula will be sitting in for her on the 28th as well. So Victoria's in the driver's seat tonight. So come on,
Now
Queen.
we're gonna
Tell us,
drive.
tell us
Let's
what you
go. Well, tonight we're going to talk about all things books. That's what I'm calling it. All things
ugh,
books and
got.
reading. We were just talking about the effects that reading had on us, and so we
mhm.
said we let's just do a show to talk about the effects reading has had on us. Some of our favorite authors, some of our favorite books. So I'm going to start out with let's talk about the effects reading had on you. For me, I was an avid reader when I came up. I would read everything that wasn't nailed down. I tell you, I specifically remember my mom had a set of books. I don't know if you've ever heard of them, Uncle Arthur's bedtime stories,
Mhm.
and it was a volume set because at that time how people used to come around, knock on your door,
Mhm.
and sell sets and encyclopedias and things. So she bought the Uncle Arthur's bedtime stories. I And she would read us the stories. But then I turned around and would read them all too. So that's like my first thing I actually remember reading besides See Spot Run, all of that in first grade, was Uncle Arthur's bedtime story. And I love to read. I would just read, like I said, I would read anything and everything. And my mother tells me she used to read the dictionary. I didn't go that far, but it's,
No, Ruth, you too.
I
You too.
did. I was
you did.
looking up bad words, so I
Oh,
just kept reading it.
you know what?
I love the show.
It's gonna be that kind of show. It's gonna
Yes,
be
it
that kind of
is.
show.
It is. Virtual.
We didn't expect you to say bad words. Well, since you was looking up bad words, tell us about the effect reading had on you, bad girl.
Well, obviously it informed who I am today, but
Hmm.
um, like you, my mom had a set of historic volumes. I'm not sure what they were. They weren't encyclopedias, but they had anthropology and
Yes.
just different type of historical stuff in it, which I think about now is probably what inspired my love for that. And one of the things I remember, the earliest memories, is her taking us to a library and getting a library card. And that, to me, everywhere I went after that, that was usually the first spot I went. Wherever I moved, okay, where's the library?
Nearest
How do I
library.
get a library card? And I did that with the kids too. It's just like, I need a library card,
Yes.
so that wherever I went, I at least had books. So that for me, to me, as long as we got books, we got something to read, I'm good. So,
Exactly.
mhm.
Exactly. What about you, Paula?
Well, my grandmother is really responsible for me reading. She would purchase everything that she could purchase as far as kids' books, and she would
Mm.
just force me to read it. And she would pay me if I would tell the right story.
Oh.
So that was her way of getting me to understand what I was reading to see if I could talk
Oh.
about it.
That's
I
Mhm.
think she
good.
was in another life. I think she wanted to be a teacher.
Mhm.
So she would say, "Have you read the book?" She'd ask me, and I'd say, "Yes." Well, what was the book about? And I would tell her, and then it wasn't a lot, maybe 50 cents, but that was a lot for a
Yeah,
kid.
you know how much candy we could have for 50
So
cents.
every book that I would get, I'd go, I've read this book. You want to I didn't realize that it was really setting the stage for my hunger for books.
Exactly.
Because what it did was books allowed me to go places that I couldn't go in my day-to-day
Mhm.
life.
Yes.
I'm reading books about China and all these places, and it just kind of stirred my interest. So yeah, my grandmother's responsible for that, and the
Wow.
book
Yeah.
report and the money that comes with it.
Okay,
Yeah,
exactly. I
absolutely.
love that.
Mhm.
I love that. All right.
Mhm.
All right. All right.
That's a
La-
good plan. I like that. I like
All
that.
right, Andrea, what about you?
Well, I read a lot more when I was little, when I was younger, than I get to read now.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
I don't get to read reading for fun and profit. No, I don't get to do that, but I'd like to because it seems that I don't get to read as much for the sheer joy of
Mhm.
reading. Uh,
Right.
it's usually attached to something, somebody will say, you need to read this book for this, or you need to read this book for that. So it's always tied to some kind of purpose, either
Yes.
work, ministry, or something like that. But when I was small, when my mom would read to me, and when I got old enough to read the books on my own, what I wanted to do was narrate children's books. That's always been, I have not done it yet,
Oh,
but and you notice I say yet, like
Yes,
real
that's
time.
right.
that's
Uh,
right.
that had always been my desire. When I went to broadcasting school, I went to learn all the nuances so that I could narrate children's books. That was always
Wow.
my desire to do. So it's coming. It's coming.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
like that. I love that we all have similar, love and the passion that we have for reading. Well, what about, things have changed now. What about, how do you like the options we have for reading now versus handheld books? Now, I'm gonna tell you, I love a handheld book. I just can't get into the Audible yet. If we're reading for the book club or anything, I've got to order the book because it's nothing like getting a brand new book. I don't care if it's old, but it's new to me. And I'll just look at it, and I'll look at the pages, and then I'll write in the inside the date that I got my book. And oh, it's just I don't know. I just have a fascination. I just still love books. So I don't know. What are you guys opinions on the books versus what we have,
I'm
like the
I'm an
Kindles?
audible person. I really, particularly if it's a book club assignment.
Okay.
Mhm.
I love listening to it, especially if it's a good actor that's narrating it. That
Mhm.
just
Okay.
makes the book come to life all the more. I enjoy that piece. But here's the interesting thing. I was at a camp, a One Day with God camp, which is something for incarcerated women who are getting out of prison and reuniting with their children, the whole thing. But the night before, they have a just a ministry gathering with the women,
Mhm.
and the woman who was leading it said, "Pull out your Bible and turn to." And we all looked just like Victoria. Nobody had a Bible.
What?
I could not believe it. I thought, what?
Ah.
Everybody was doing this, right?
I got that
Uh-huh.
phone. They got that phone. And I came home that day and I pulled one of my multicolored Bibles because I had highlighted things in different colors, all through the word and everything. And I thought nobody even hardly carries a Bible anymore. And the woman was shocked, and we were too. We were all looking at each other, going, "You got a Bible? You got a
You
Bible?
should have told me to bring it.
Somebody else
But
have a Bible."
Ah,
but see, that's the
That's gotten away
convenience.
from it.
That is the convenience of having an e-reader. You can take
yeah.
your books with you, and I'll be honest, I am strictly Kindle.
Okay.
I own a
Uh,
few books. I've transferred all of them to my e-reader. Um,
Oh. Oh,
there are a few books that I don't, and any picture book, like any
okay.
coffee table type book, I do keep as an actual because I love the vibrant print on it. But for
Yeah.
me, if I'm going to read, it's going to be on an e-reader. Now, I do
Wow.
listen to audiobook, um, but if it's good, I go and buy the Kindle because then I have to go
Okay.
back and actually read it. Because to me,
Okay.
I hear it, but I process it better once I actually read it.
Read the words.
But
Okay.
yeah, and the thing is though, with my if you're carrying a book with you and you finish it, you're done. But if you carry your Kindle with you, you have your library with you and you
That
can
is
just continue
true.
reading it. So
That is
that's
true.
that's mine.
Okay.
Like those pages, though.
That is nothing like. What about you, Paula?
I like them both. You
Yeah.
know, I do. I like them both. I'm not really into the Kindles, but I am into the audiobooks.
Hmm.
Okay.
I really like to listen to
Yeah.
how they say the words and like Ruth, I'll go back and get the book, but it's something about listening to the story that reminds me of my youth. Just listen to
Being
somebody
read
read the
to.
story.
Mm.
It's
Yes.
been read to me.
Okay.
Absolutely. It's been read to me. And I really enjoy that. Now, what you might find is I have the book,
Hmm.
but I prefer to listen to it sometimes, and sometimes I
Hmm.
prefer
Hmm.
to read it. So I guess I like the best of both worlds. Is that okay?
Right. Yeah,
Oh yeah,
it's
that's fine.
fun. It's
Yeah.
I love it's the options for us that we have
Yeah.
today.
And
We didn't
that's
have those
I-
when we were all younger. No,
Hmm.
Mhm.
it was either you had the book or you did not. That was it. Well, I guess they had it on tape, right? They had books on tape,
At
cassette
that
tape. I
time,
don't know, but
I
I
don't
don't know
know.
because I
Did they?
never. I
I
don't
wasn't
know.
into that. I wasn't
eh,
into the
eh,
book on TV. But
yeah.
now,
Yeah,
oh,
they would have had like 26 tapes because I mean, like Harry Potter alone is like 33
Oh
hours.
yeah,
yeah.
So,
yeah, yeah.
Is it
yeah.
really
Yeah,
that
I could.
really.
long?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The
Oh
last
my!
book is about 33 hours. Yeah.
Wow,
So,
wow.
yeah,
And that's on Audible.
that's on Audible. Yep.
Oh, see,
Oh
Yeah,
no!
no, I got tired. I was reading the series with my daughter, but I got tired reading the last book, so I just
yes.
purchased the audiobook and I was a little surprised because it was about 33 hours. Yeah.
Yeah, I've read all the Harry Potter books. I've read them
Mm-hmm.
just to. I wanted to know what my kids were reading,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, well, let me read this too, and I kind of liked it. So,
Mm-hmm.
I like the books better than the movies, but we digress. But
but
That's another subject
right.
itself.
we digress.
Yeah.
We digress a lot.
We
Well,
represent life.
we don't want to talk about. I want to talk about a book that had an impact on you.
Mm,
That like okay, I'm gonna say mine. There's an author. His name is Elin Harris, and I know people may not or understand or even like the subject matter. And he's a gay man, and he wrote a series of books called The Invisible Life. And then after Invisible Life, it was the continuing story of the character in the book, and he wrote about the plight of being a black man and being a gay man and all the things that that community had to go through.
Hmm.
Mm.
And I tell you,
mm,
it was very rare for me up until that point to have a book that took you through a range of emotions. And I literally found myself crying at some points at the cruelty of people
Mhm.
and at how a person could feel when they feel the whole world is against them.
mhm,
Mm.
And I would have to stop reading sometimes because I was crying. And
mm.
it was just the emotional toll but I tell you, I have every last one of his books on my shelf.
Mm.
Now,
And
what's his
Elin
name?
Harris, and when
And also, she says,
Elin Harris, and
I
when
know.
he passed, I cried
Oh God.
because he just he wrote a real story, and
Yeah.
about real people, and it really made an impact on me, and I think it really helped me to put aside some biases that I had grown up with.
Mhm.
And so that is just I don't know, it's still very powerful for me
Mhm.
because the book, it just he had a best friend who was gay, and when he had caught HIV, so it was written in that time period when HIV became rampant, and when his friend died, it was like my friend died,
Oh, that's
because I had a
powerful
friend
though.
that died when I was 16, and so it was just I don't know, it was just impactful.
Powerful.
So
Yeah.
yeah, it's very powerful, and that showed me, those sets of books really showed me the power that words can have.
Mhm.
When someone is just telling their story.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know. Is anything like that for you guys?
I have one. It's called The Beautiful Days of My Youth by Anna
Mm,
Novak, and it's actually a Holocaust memoir.
Mm.
And Miss Novak
interesting.
was, I think, either 15 or 16 when she went through the camps, and she actually went through like 8 of them in 6 months, but she only remembers 2 of them, or she remembered. She passed away in 2010.
Hmm.
But she was a 16-year-old, and at some point she writes that she enjoyed writing. She was just a typical teenager when the war broke out,
Mhm.
but she felt this need that she had to write down what was happening for Judgment Day.
Wow.
She needed proof of, what everything that occurred. And she actually kept a journal in her time in the camps. I mean, she would get scraps
Wow.
of paper, use toilet paper,
Wow.
whatever she could find.
Wow.
And somehow she ended up smuggling all this journal out of the camp with her after the 6 months.
My,
And it's just, I
my.
mean, it was literary. She went on to become a playwright, but it was her time in there that just, even as she wrote it, she was just, you could tell how lucid she was and just how descriptive and everything. And just reading it, you go, okay, at 16, she knew she had a purpose with her writing. She knew what her writing could do. And even though it
Wow.
was written for young adults, it was, I read it a few years ago and I was just struck by it. I was
Wow.
like, wow,
Wow.
just, wow.
Yeah, what
So,
she went through and that she smuggled it out and
mhm,
made it out to write about it.
yeah,
That is powerful.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Wow. That's something.
That
Mhm.
That's
is
something.
risky but
I don't
powerful.
I don't have a book that was hmm, that carried that kind of, well, I'm not even going to say that because it was for me. It had
Mhm.
been for me, and that was Becoming,
Hmm.
Michelle Obama's.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Mhm. Because I couldn't, I had no idea of some things.
Mhm.
I had always wondered, what that life was like.
Hmm.
But of course, you can look at people and they look to have everything together, and they look to have, a life that you think, ooh, I might like that kind of life. But just and listening to her narrate some of those very painful things
Hmm.
that they went through and still come through with what I perceive is dignity on another level. I mean,
Mhm.
just
Right. Right.
when I think of some of the things that were said to them, some of the things that were deliberately done, um, but they stood tall and they stood proud, and that really. I just remember reading some parts of it, thinking there is just no way. There's just no way. I've been locked up somewhere writing pages to Orange is the New Black. I
Okay. Okay. You know that's right.
just know, that's where you say, I know I've saved, but,
Uh-huh.
Right.
but,
Right.
yeah, it really did. The way that she navigated
Yes.
and
Hmm.
the way that she protected her girls was just,
Mhm.
it just gave me a new appreciation
Right.
um,
Yes.
for making it.
I like that. I'm
Hmm.
gonna have to put that on my list.
I'm going to put it on my list.
Mhm.
And Audible with that one is really good. Listening to her,
Oh,
Yes.
oh, cause she does it.
yeah.
Okay,
Hmm.
I'm gonna have to do that.
So
Yes.
Yeah.
My,
that gave it some deeper meaning for me too.
Becoming.
So
And what
that was
about you, Paula?
I'm going to switch gears a little bit. I'm a little bit of a English literature Jane Austen fan.
period.
Oh,
Yeah.
I am, and I was introduced to Jane Austen in 2006, and I thought, how could you write this at such a young age in that era when
Mhm.
things were so different and there was don't even think about running water or running anything electric or
right.
just people and relationships and whew, class systems and whatever, and
Yeah.
she just mesmerized me. And my
Oh.
favorite book by her is Persuasion.
Yes. Okay.
I love
I haven't
Persuasion.
read that. I
You
have to
know,
read that too
you
because I
have
will
to read
listen.
it. And I've been looked at several of the movies, but the book just reminds me of so many people that I know today, probably including myself. But we're talking about an era of what 1700s and
Mhm.
1600s when other things were going on in our race, but she's talking about hers, and I'm just kind of mesmerized by her
Hmm.
ability to write
Yes.
way.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Cool, cool.
So I will have to check that out. I kind of avoid, and I think when we get to influential authors, I'll talk a little bit more about it. But I tend to avoid certain authors from a certain age simply because their language gets so flowery. It's just like,
Mm.
okay, were you guys writing on a word count? Trying to make a deadline? You could have wrote in 100 words what you just wrote in 25,000. So, because I mean that was the thing. Like, I love
Yeah.
Mary Shelley, but oh my God,
Okay.
half the book had nothing to do with the story. It's
Wow.
like, and even like Charles Dickens, he worked on he worked on word count. He had to get a particular amount of words to his publisher, and it's just like you could tell when you started reading it. So
Oh
Mhm.
I'm gonna
wow.
check out Persuasion though, because I've always wanted to say that I at least read it.
Read
I've kind of avoided it, but if you're giving it a glowing review, I'm
I
gonna check it
would,
Persuasion
out.
by
I would
Jane
recommend
Austen.
Persuasion.
Okay.
I would, because they're even bringing it back as a movie in today's like
Mm-hmm.
2021 era. So I think
Yeah.
it has a special touch, and I do agree with you. They do talk a lot.
Uh-huh.
It takes them forever to ask for one thing. But the character sections, it's like you only need to say two words today
Uh-huh.
to please.
Yeah.
But I just fell in love with it for some reason. It
Yeah.
to me. So yeah, I would definitely read the older versions because the new movie's coming out. Not
Oh,
coming.
Okay.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Have any of you read, Angie put up Cecily Tyson, Just As I Am? Have any of you read that yet?
No, I'm gonna put that on the list too.
Okay, Angie, we got it
Lord.
on the list. We got it on
Yeah.
the list.
yeah.
Because I
And
know
and
that's got to be phenomenal.
and
Oh
and
yeah.
listeners, especially on on Facebook, if you want to put in the comments what your favorite books are and any
Mm-hmm.
please do. And we're not going to be able to get to the comments right now, but I promise you we'll look back at them and
Yeah.
and comment please. And if you want to tell us like who your most influential authors are and a book that meant something to you, you can send us an email authorsup@gmail.com, and we would love to read your comments if you want to hear on our next show. So,
Awesome.
okay, guys, what about your favorite authors? Yeah, I'm gonna let somebody else go first.
I'll start.
Go ahead.
I actually don't have a favorite author, but I do have an influential author.
Okay,
And
go
it's funny
ahead.
because I was thinking of skipping this last night, but we were watching something on TV, and they brought it up because as a kid, my favorite author was Edgar Allan Poe.
Really?
Oh,
Yes, and I was like,
oh,
I don't tell people that because he
You said
was
as a kid,
as a kid,
Edgar
yes.
Allan Poe.
As a kid, that's why usually I get that kind of reaction because he was the father of, gothic horror.
Oh,
He
right.
preceded,
dark stuff.
even like Bram Stoker, he's another one of my influential authors because it was just like he birthed a genre, with
Yeah.
the monsters and things like that. And for me, reading those and Edgar Rice Burroughs, I mean, he literally changed the world. He went to Mars before we
Wow.
even could get to the moon.
How
So,
about that?
Mm-hmm.
mhm.
Anyway,
You're
So,
right.
just authors like that. And I think this one you guys might know, Barbara Cartland. No?
no,
Oh.
that doesn't make
Mm-mm.
She was a romance writer in the early 1900s.
Did
She
she
wrote
write any
over
Harlequin romances?
Yes, she wrote
That's
over
who I thought you was. Yes, I
700
know her.
historical. See, okay, I'm not the only one. Don't look at me like
No,
that.
when you
No,
said that name and I said, did she write any Harlequin romances?
see,
I
no,
was
no.
hooked to the Harlequin
Thank
romances.
you, thank you, Andrea. Don't make that face. Don't make that face.
You should not make that face.
Seven
Sydney
hundred,
Sheldon. Sydney Sheldon.
seven
I remember that name.
hundred. Yeah,
Get you. Now that I think about
Okay.
it, Good Harlequin, yeah.
I
But
just can't imagine writing that much.
I know, right? I think at some point she probably started repeating them, but you know,
No,
Well, the
there's
Harlequins were
only so
big.
much you could tell.
Yeah, they were.
that little cheesy,
But
cheesy
I mean,
Harlequin romance.
I think for me, it was what they did more so than their books. Because,
Yeah.
like I said, even looking back now on like Edgar Rice Burroughs, there's some questionable stuff, and I can't stand the
Yeah.
females in his stories. Because you know, Tarzan and Jane, Jane gets a little tired after a while screaming for Tarzan to come save
Come
her.
on now.
So, but the fact that he could change the world, you know, and that Barbara Cartland could change the face of romance, 700 books, you know,
I
makes
do
me think
remember
what I
her.
can
I
do.
was think
I used
about.
to call her Cortland. I thought it was Barbara Cortland.
Cartland, yeah.
Cartland.
Dame,
Okay, but I know who you're talking about.
yeah, Dame
Wow.
Barbara Cartland. Yep.
Wow. I used to like Danielle Steele. I read every Danielle
Okay,
Steele
okay.
book.
Okay. I read some of her stuff. I wrote some of her stuff. I read some of her stuff too. I didn't think I had a favorite author
Mm-hmm.
until this assignment, and I was telling you guys, I went through my vast library, but I looked at my bookshelf and I said, if I've got more than two of any
Okay, so who is it? Come on, come on.
Come on.
favorite, one was Sidney Sheldon.
Okay.
Okay.
I love Sidney Sheldon. Soon as his books came out, I was there to get a copy.
Uh-huh.
Love Sidney Sheldon. Love that. And the other one is Terry McMillan.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
And I had a lot of her stuff.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
I thought I had completely forgotten about Terry McMillan.
Oh
But I
yes.
enjoyed her a lot because I even went to a book
Stella.
signing
Stella.
and have her autograph on one of them.
Oh, you have Stella? You have the group back?
She was here at the Quail Ridge
Uh-huh.
bookstore,
Oh.
and I went to a book signing. So I must have been really into her. At some point. I don't remember why now, but yep, those. So I did manage to find two favorite authors. Yes.
Okay, okay. What about you, Paula?
I still have my one. It's still
What?
Jane Austen. It's,
Yeah, okay.
That's
All
all
right.
right.
That's all right.
that's my one. And but you know, I forgot about Terry McMillan.
Yes.
And I
That
forget,
is
you're
true.
bringing back some of those authors that were impactful at the time.
At the
Yeah,
time.
Exactly.
yeah,
And
that's the key.
everybody talked about them, read their books, and talked about them. They were in the book clubs. You know, we kind of forget about how they shaped our lives.
Mhm.
Wow. Did
Wasn't
y'all
that
have-
how Stella got her
I
groove
think
back?
it-
That's
Yeah.
right.
You
That's
can
right.
remember anything. You remember how Stella got her groove.
And we, yeah, oh, absolutely. So at certain times, these people were very important to us.
Yeah,
That's right.
that's
That's
true.
right. That
That's
is
true.
true.
Very
What
nice.
about Eric Jerome Dickey?
We waited for the next release. You know, when is her next book coming out? When is her next book coming out?
Did y'all do Eric Jerome Dickey like that? Did y'all like his books?
I'm not familiar with
Yeah,
him.
he was a little risque. Okay, scratch that one.
Oh, no. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, tell us
Go ahead. Yeah. go
Eric
ahead.
Jerome Dickey, he's just a black writer, and he writes black. So so it's about things that happen in the hood, kind of sort.
Oh,
Of.
okay.
Okay.
I was like, what does
But
Does that mean?
now, as I've grown and matured
Uh-huh.
and learned not to read those kinds of books, I like my favorite author is really I still like Elin Harris though, but Dee Henderson. She writes Christian sort of like suspense romance
Mhm.
things. Now, and that is my favorite type of book is that suspense kind of thing, like who done it. But I like the fact that she gives you suspense, but it's also Christian based, and somebody in there gonna talk about the goodness of God, and
Really?
in all things may not work out good, but it still gives God glory. And even though somebody's trying to kill somebody, it's still good. Somebody kidnapped somebody.
somebody's been missing for years?
Okay, and we found them. Somebody lost their memory, but they
But they remember Jesus.
that's it. That's it. They remember Jesus, and they just kind of give me hope. They give you hope, anything. So I like that. So I like that.
That is a very good way of putting it, Lynn.
Yeah,
Very
yeah. Ben said he's very ethnic.
Yes, he is very ethnic.
I'm
I
surprised,
said,
Victoria.
who?
I thought you were all romance.
Who, me?
Yeah.
Not so much. It
No,
doesn't
isn't
have
she the
to.
one who usually says that she needs a kiss in the story?
Always.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, right.
Whatever we're writing,
Yeah.
a slap.
That's her contribution.
Yeah.
You gotta have a slap or a kiss, right?
Mhm.
But what she's not telling you is that the D. Henderson's books have a lot of that in it.
See,
Oh, okay. I see how that
somebody,
Thank you.
somebody gonna do something to somebody.
Yes, so she's not. I'm just going to tell it for her. She needs my book.
Thank
That's
you.
right. You are.
Oh, Paula, you are fitting right in.
Lisa, Lisa, I have about a million books. Is it Lisa Harris? Lisa Harris. She writes those kind of books too.
Mhm.
But something is going wrong somewhere. It's just not all gonna be good.
Mhm.
But it's gonna work out in the end.
Yeah.
Well, that's the main point, right? It works out
Yeah.
in the end. It works out in the end. Well, I tell you what, ladies, this has been fun for me. It's been a
Yes.
fun journey
Mhm.
in discovering some books and some authors we may not have known, and others that we may not have appreciated as much as we could have or should have.
True.
And good getting the Lynn says she likes your book collection. That's a little scary.
And I actually have passed on my passion for reading to my children. I've
good.
got like at least 5 bookshelves around here, and it's just full of books, and
Good.
they like mysteries and all. I, are
That's
you there,
good.
God? It's me, Margaret.
No, I
Look, look.
yes.
That's good.
You remember that book? Are you there,
Uh-huh.
God? It's me, Margaret.
Oh my gosh. You would get ready to say something.
I'm
No, I
sorry.
was just gonna say that's pretty good, Victoria, because only one of mine got it. The other two are just like, yeah. I'm like, whose child are you?
No.
So
Well, the
yeah.
oldest two are, pretty much out the house, but they've left all the books. So I don't know if
Well,
they
you know
read
those are
now.
heavy when you put them in a box.
That's true. That's true. But I think that we have proven how much books
Oh,
and
yeah.
writing and reading
Yeah.
have
Yes.
influenced us
Yes.
as writers. And
Absolutely.
that's right, Judy Bloom. That's right.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. How could we forget Judy? Well, I tell you what, this has been. I hope that our listeners have had as much fun as we have had tonight, because this really has been enjoyable. Brought about some fond memories.
Definitely.
Gave us some interesting to-dos, because we have
Yep.
some titles that we are going to explore on our own and
Yep.
enjoy. But unfortunately, our time is just about
No, I know it went so fast tonight.
no,
Yeah.
no. But does anybody have any? Oh yes, Maya
Maya
Angelou.
Angelou. I know why the cage bird sings.
Yes, indeed. But does anybody have any closing comments for tonight? I'll start with you, Ruth. You have any closing comments for tonight?
Oh, I just want to thank Paula for joining us. You are awesome.
Absolutely.
I just want to tell everybody keep reading. I mean, there is a book out there, and I just want to share it. So my son is not a reader. We couldn't get him to read until he discovered the Captain Underpants books,
There you go.
and that is some of the silliest stuff out there. But that just tells you you're a reader. You just got to find the books that you connect to.
There's something for
That's
everyone.
all. Yeah,
That's the book.
something for everybody. So
There you go.
just keep looking. You're gonna find it.
'Cause that is not on my library.
Not on your library list.
I don't think I see any notes over here with the girl stuff.
Maybe look behind you, Victoria.
Behind me in my bookshelf.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can pick one out.
Oh my goodness.
Victoria, I don't know. I just don't know. you have any closing comments tonight?
Let me let Paula go because I'm laughing.
Paula, you have the closing comment.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Maybe I have one.
Crazy cool.
Maybe I have one. It's really interesting all the different types of books that we like.
Mhm.
So, we're four, but we represent a whole lot of people
Yeah.
that read a lot
Yeah.
of different types of books.
Yeah.
So, as you said, no one probably ever thought I would bring up the name Jane Austen,
No, ma'am.
Mm-mm.
but there's a book that
That's
speaks
awesome.
to us in a different way. It may not be on your shelf, may not be on my brother's shelf, but I love the variety and the way we're educating each other on books.
Yes.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's
Awesome.
it.
Awesome. You have yourself together, Victoria.
I'm together.
Okay.
I just want our listeners and our viewers just to keep reading. Keep reading. I don't care if you pick up the book. I don't care if you listen to the book. I don't care if you do the e-reading thing. I don't do it. But be like me, just don't kiss the book. Mwah. But whatever you do, just keep reading. And if you like the book and there's something that you relate to, you start writing. Write. Just write your thoughts down and just keep doing that, sharing your stories.
And
Absolutely.
that is it, and that's really what we're all about. We're glad to be able to talk about the work that other people have done and how it's inspired us and all of that good stuff. But the world is waiting for your story.
Yes.
Yes.
The world is waiting for your story. So be sure that, just like Victoria said, don't get the book, write the book.
Mhm.
Write the book. Just
Yeah.
to write, and you will be amazed. You'll be amazed at the stories that are in you that you can share with the rest of the world. So I thank you all for being with us tonight. Thank you all for listening. Thank you, Paula, for
Thank
being
you,
with us.
Paula.
We look forward to having you guest host again at the end of the month on the 28th. Paula will be back with us. So I'm not sure what we're going to talk about. It's always a surprise. Not just to you, but to us. We're grateful. We're happy that you're with us. And come on back. Next Sunday, we will be right here at 7 p.m. for Authors Up. And I tell you what, you never know. You never know what's going to happen with Authors Up. So good night, everybody. Thanks for being with us. Night, Ruth.
Bye.
Night,
Good night.
Victoria. See you.
Good night, Bronze Girls. Good night. I love you all.
Good night.